Hi everyone, Comic Book Reviewer here, once again reviewing issue 13 of Ultimate Fantastic Four. Now, like I said before, Ultimate Fantastic Four was a 60-issue series that was meant to be a modern retelling, a redoing, and doing a newer, fresh take on the Fantastic Four, which ran for 60 issues from 2004 all the way to 2009. And yeah, the cover mainly has the Ultimate Fantastic Four getting ready for action. So let's get on with the story. It starts off how many years ago, when Ultimate Reed was a kid, we see how Ultimate Dr. Storm points out he was the first person to discover the end zone, and they have kind of been amazed with his discovery, and even congratulate him knowing they figured out where all these toys, planes, and that came. And to Ultimate Reed, he's like this kid who really felt like he just discovered something amazing, even though it did come with a lot of unintended consequences. And we see how many years later, Ultimate Reed is doing the tests once again, and we kind of see Ultimate Reed saying, power flow is go. Getting is go. Sue? Organic compound is normal. Recording astray are go. We're all set. You have a go for transportation. Commit. And of course, they see after testing the end zone once again, it turns the apple into a frozen object. And we kind of see how after Ultimate Ben and Johnny see the results, we kind of see how, yeah, Ultimate Johnny makes a crack at Ben, but even threatens him to leave him alone. And we see how Ultimate Reed points out about that this sort of experiment could restore him and Ben to normal, as Sue and Johnny don't want to be back to being normal. They're kind of used to their powers and abilities, and I think it's clear Ultimate Reed respects their decision, but even points out that, yeah, Johnny's powers do have some side effects, like when he goes flame on, it's burning off more and more food cells, and even points out the abilities Johnny has, which he even points out that, yeah, his skin in that is like a sort of coating to keep his heat temperature normal. And after doing some more work, they kind of figure out more and more about the end zone. And we see how Ultimate Reed gets the idea from not only seeing the whole carriers, but pointing out about them being stock technology, and even wanting to use the thrusters, so gets an idea. It even becomes clear Ultimate Reed is willing to make special technology to try and find out more about the end zone, despite not really thinking of what other consequences there could be. I mean, it's even clear that his special little drone device can shapeshift, turn, and become other objects. And we kind of see how Ultimate Ben and Johnny are having a talk, saying, I think I'm getting crow's feet. Seriously, the skin around my eyes, it's getting all baggy. I'm getting old. You don't get out of my room, you're never going to get the chance. But we even see how Johnny points out that, yeah, he has noticed Ben's eyes are a lot different. So is his sort of voice in that. And even points out that he is going to be used to having these powers. And even talks about, obviously, having an uncle who smoked 60 cigarettes a day. But even kind of takes it as a personal idea that, yeah, something's going to happen eventually. And obviously, we kind of see right away, in the other side of the Baxter building, obviously Ultimate Dr. Storm trying to figure out more about this whole end zone thing, and we kind of see how Ultimate Sue says, what on earth he want explosives for? He had ordered me some explosives. No idea, 50 pounds of C4. He said he'd be in the blast room for a while. You know, I must be getting senile. And right away, it becomes clear Reed is doing his trademark thing where he doesn't think through his actions, other people get affected, and because of it, more and more people reach their limits with him. Ultimate Reed is arguably his own worst enemy, and after getting through the blast door, using Owen Ben as a battering ram, it becomes clear that Ultimate Reed thinks he's kind of done nothing wrong, despite not understanding his friends' and teammates' reaction. And this really just mirrors how his dad felt, having his limits pushed with him, having that kind of moment where he feels like slapping him around the face. Ultimate Reed just doesn't think through his actions, and because of it, it angers, annoys, and upsets a lot of people. And after meeting up with Ultimate General Ross, Ultimate Reed shows off all the ideas that he has planned, and even says, "But it's very simple. I have an idea. I want to be transported into the end zone to explore it." And yeah, even his friends are trying to make sense of why he would want this. And this is the story. So I think issue 13 is actually interesting. It does make it clear that Ultimate Reed doesn't think through his actions. He doesn't think how his friends, his family, the people around him react to his sort of nerdy scientific behavior, and because of it, it leaves people frustrated, annoyed, angry, as well as irritated by his constant need to explore things that might cause unintended consequences. But it's definitely enjoyable, so it definitely deserves a thumbs up. Still good, and still alright. So, Comic Reviewer here, signing out.